11:34, 11:55, 11:20, 11:62, 11:45, 11:41, 11:35, 11:44, 11:47, and 11:58.
Hit it. There we go. Whoa.
Okay, so as you can see from the carnage behind me, I ran a whole bunch of rounds through this. We're now going to load up with 10 rounds and see if there's any difference in velocity. $11.26, 11.18, 11.25, 11.28, 11.28.3, 11.25, 11.18, 11.09, 11.15, and 1100 even. If you can't tell, I cleaned up my mess back here on the range. So now I'm going to fire, the barrel's still dirty, but I'm going to fire 10 more rounds through a cooled barrel. 11.26, 11.35, 11.50, 11.27, 11.27.0, 11.04.3, 11.35.8, 11.10.9, 11.24.7, and 11.30.9. So we'll go crunch those numbers, put it into a visual for you guys, and we'll talk through what I think the results are. These results. But before we get started into the numbers, let's talk about a few of the disclaimers I have for this. Number one, obviously these are very small test groups. I think to form any conclusions, you would have to do testing over and over again and build up a data set that would be more robust. But this is just a sampling and my thoughts on it. A couple other things. I think even if there is a trend here, the meaning and significance of it would be pretty limited, because I don't foresee, one, if you're shooting a handgun, I don't foresee a self-defense scenario where you'd even have 100 rounds on you, and even if you did and you fired 100 rounds and had a really hot barrel and velocity was limited, would it have any tangible effect on that? And secondarily, in competition shooting, the types of competitions I shoot, generally you're shooting for anywheres from 5 to 40 seconds at most, and then it goes a full half hour before you're shooting again. So I don't think barrel temperature is a factor in any of that. And also, even if residue in the barrel affects velocity, from what I've seen shooting towards the end of matches, I've seen no tangible difference in how effective I am at knocking down the knockdown targets that I shoot with this ammunition. So if velocity is diminished, it's only a little bit and intangible. And if there's any effect on accuracy, there is also no tangible result. So like, if I think of the what affects accuracy, me is way up here, and the amount of dirt and residue in the barrel is probably down here in the grand scheme of what affects accuracy. So those are my disclaimers, but to go walk through some of the numbers here, we have average velocity of clean bore shots that I took off camera. We had on 10 rounds, we had an average velocity of 1142. With 20 rounds, with 20 rounds of residue in the barrel, we had 1144.4. This would have been the first set that I shot on camera. A difference of 2.2, not a significant difference. However, when the barrel was hot, we do see a drop of 24.7 feet from the mean average of clean bore weighted velocities. So if you look at the extreme spreads here, 24.7 you could say is within the variation of one round to the next. But if we look at the standard deviations, it's actually outside of the standard deviation. So I would say that, again, my disclaimer here is it's really not significant in the grand scheme of things, but what I am saying is there is evidence to suggest that this hot barrel is contributing to decreased velocity, because our range has shifted almost completely, well, actually completely outside of the range of our clean bore in this instance, as well as our clean bore in this instance. After we let the barrel cool down for about 20 or 30 minutes, we do see some recovery in velocity, but it's still 16.9 feet lower than the weighted average of clean bore velocity. So, does the residue on a slightly cooled barrel affect velocity? Maybe a little bit, but we do see a round up here at the 1150 mark, and our top was 1152, on this round 1161. So could be just variation in one round to the next, but we do still see that it's outside of our parameters for standard deviation. So there may be some effect there. After I let the barrel cool for a full 48 hours and had 140 rounds worth of residue in it, again, we're at 1133 feet per second. Whether this is significant or not, or due to the variation from round to the next, you be the judge. I don't have a formed conclusion on that. Again, these are all just notions. But then we see recovery and velocity after the barrel is clean and really consistent with our other clean bore velocity as well as our 20 rounds of residue velocity. These are all very consistent here, which again, when I see these three numbers so consistent and we see low standard deviations with the clean bore, whenever we see drops in velocity like this, it does suggest to me that something's going on. But for the third and final time, I don't think it really means a whole heck of a lot. So kind of an anticlimactic end to this video. But number one, it was fun to shoot. It's fun to sit here and talk. And I hope you find it at least somewhat useful. So remember, life's always better when you live it in the wild.